I would now like to hand over to the chair of the PES network, Johannes Kopf. Johannes is the Director General of the Public Employment Service in Austria, and he is going to give us an introductory address. Thank you very much, Johannes.
Thank you, Eamon. Thank you. Good morning, Liat. Good morning, colleagues. And I'd also like to say good morning, friends. I've seen the list of participants, and there are a lot of friends around today. I'm really impressed by the great interest, and a very warm welcome to all of you from all over Europe. Our PES network brings together the public employment services of the 27 EU member states, as well as Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. So we are around of 30 countries, PES from 30 countries. And in fact, it's all about getting better together. So it's about strengthening cooperation between the European public employment services. We have the mutual learning and benchmarking activities, and we really support each other's to improve our services. That's what we do. I think the most of you already know. But today we are reaching out to you, our partners in the labor market ecosystem, to discuss with you, I would say, a persistent topic. It's about labor shortages and the impact for PES. What should we do? What can we do? What's our role in that field? Labor and skill shortages, of course, is not strictly speaking a new challenge. But without any doubt, the situation became more acute since the pandemic. There are in some countries also often, or in many countries, often a coexistence of a growing share of long-term unemployed and a lack of skilled workers. So it's not easy for the public employment services. And the pandemic highlighted the lack of attractiveness of certain sectors. It's clear, for instance, in the healthcare and hospitality sector, where people had a very hard job over the last 2 years, where employees experienced dissatisfaction. And of course, we also have problems in other sectors. For instance, think of the uncertainty during the crisis for people who work in the tourism sector, in restaurants and so on. There are certain sectors with a lot of problems in the lack of attractiveness of their sector. In other sectors, such as, for instance, the construction sector, labor shortage is now combined with a shortage in materials. We are reaching record high levels with more than 30% of managers in the construction sector that pointing out to shortage of labor already limiting their activity. So it's also a question of a limitation of growth. It is a difficult situation right now. I don't really have an answer to whether there is something like a great resignation in Europe. In fact, I guess there is no great resignation. I don't like the term, and I also think there is no great resignation in the United States. Of course, many people around the world have had time to think about the sense and nonsense of their working life during the Corona days. Many wonderful pleasures which otherwise distract us from deeper thoughts were not possible at the last 2 years. But I would say the current development also in the United States is not really that remarkable that we should call it the Great Resignation. But one thing is clear, and it's no difference in Austria. In my country, companies are never reported so many vacancies to the public employment service as they do now. We expect labor shortages not only we expect, we already have labor shortages in almost all sectors. What we haven't seen yet is really an increase in the number of employee terminations. So a lot of companies searching for qualified workers, or workers even also not qualified workers are searched for. And it became more difficult for companies to find new employees. Labor market is turning a bit into an employee market, I would say. Our applicants can already choose from very many offers. In our job database, we implemented a 24-hour filter because we had customers who said there are too many job offers in there. I don't find anything. So we introduced the 24-hour filter for the people just to show the last job offers because there were too many of them. So it's really about that companies have to manage to position themselves as attractive employers. It's all about factors like flexibility, working hours, training offers, how to create an interesting and good working atmosphere. For many companies, it's really a task to create meaning for their workers. It's about employee orientation, working from home. People, telework has come to stay, I would say. So it's offering attractive, flexible workplaces. It's about technical equipment and so on. And in Austria, for instance, to give you one more example from Austria, it's already happening that we as a public employment service are giving really a lot of advice to companies how to become an attractive employer. Employers do have to look into working conditions right now and offer employment incentives to their potential employees. For example, especially in the tourism and hospitality sectors. So also the role of the PES is changing. We have to give, I would say, a collective response with, this is very important in the recovery now. The role of PES are evolving all across Europe. We have to deal and work proactive and to search for solutions and sustainable strategies in this new market situation, I would say. What we can do, for instance, this is clear, is on one side, this is a topic we are working on for years, but we are not finished yet. It's about better anticipating skill needs and skill shortages. We have to improve our matching services for a faster reaction and also to support employers. It's more services for employees, I would say, we have to deliver. Stepping up upskilling efforts, career guidance, and so on. And of course, as I would say, always task, it's about improving support for those people in more vulnerable situations, especially after the pandemic. Of course, the public employment services cannot do this we cannot do this by our own. So we need partnership with many more labor market players as part of a, I would say, broader labor market ecosystem. With on one side, of course, job seekers and employers, but also other employment services, local authorities, NGOs, education providers, and an effective cooperation with our stakeholder partners. In fact, with all of you, many from our partners are here today, which is really a great thing. Thank you for coming. And as we heard, we are already more than 230 participants today. We all need this cooperation to deliver. So, and our annual stakeholder conference, in fact, is the most important conference in the PES network every year. It's a clear opportunity to take stock and to put this partnership in practice, to reflect together about challenges, and maybe we can also define common strategies on this labor market ecosystem in Europe. Okay, how we will proceed to have a look at the agenda. First, I'm very thankful that we were able to build this event together. Many of you brought us ideas and discussions, brought points into the agenda. So I hope you like our agenda and we will meet your interest. We have organized 4 thematic clusters. One is about building resilience and addressing shortages in specific sectors. It's of course about meeting the needs of the future labor market. Things are changing very quick. It's about improving attractiveness in shortage sectors, as I already said. And this is together with the demographic situation also, it's about untapping potential towards the labor market of the future. The first two thematic clusters will be discussed in depth today. We'll focus on building resilience and to address present and future shortages. In this connected digital work, labor market evolves rapidly. So it's not about only present challenges, but also in overcoming future labor and skill shortages. Before concluding, let me just look back briefly at one of the main lessons we learned from the last 2 years since the pandemic. Since many other players, many of you had the same situation, many companies, all the people had the same situation, also the public employment services needed in just a few weeks to find different ways of working. We worked completely different than we had working during the last decades, of course. It was essential to ensure that we could support those workers that stayed at home, those job seekers, those employers who had seen their lives also disruptly changed so suddenly. But I would say we learned a lot on resilience, on flexibility. Also, our customers showed a lot of flexibility, we by learning these things, we thought we are now better prepared for any future unforeseen events. And this time has come earlier than we could have foreseen. It's a very tragic event that came up recently with the war in the Ukraine, which means we have to do everything possible to support now the people of Ukraine. I think many of you did the same during the last 4 months that I did. It's Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine in our work right now. For all our countries now receiving unprecedented number of refugees. And I think we've learned a lot during the COVID pandemic, and it helps us now to be more flexible, to be quicker in reforming our services. And of course, we also learned a lot during the income of refugees from Syria, from Afghanistan in 2015, 16, and so on. Our countries are doing their, I would say, utmost to welcome now the refugees, often those from vulnerable groups, women, children, elderly. There are already 10,000 of kids, very small kids now in Europe. Yesterday in our media broadcast at the evening news, it was said that every second child left the Ukrainian, and is somewhere in our countries now. While our states and we provide the most essential food, accommodation, social and health assistance, schooling, and so on, the PES are already receiving requests for employment, of course. So it's beyond doubt the challenging situation for those people, but also for the PES. We build up a strong and excellent commitment to find a new normality for those people, a new beginning. A job will bring hope to them and their children, and of course money. That's what they need. So of course this tragic context will be in the back of our minds today. The recovery of the pandemic now, I would say, coupled with the humanitarian crisis stemming for the war, require all of us to work together and to be prepared for the next changes and the next big task we have to solve. However, I can assure you that together we will be able to deliver forward-looking solutions also in that topic. And I very much hope this is our spirit through the next 2 intensive days. I wish you all a fruitful meeting, and I'm sure that I can count on your engagement and active participation, and I'm really looking forward to our conference. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much.